imagine how excited I was. My father came to me and he looked at me very seriously and he said, "Miriam, I have prepared for you to get married." "Married, Abba?" I said. "Yes, Miriam," he answered, "and the man will be coming by tonight." "Tonight, Abba?" "Yes, Miriam. Is there anything the matter with that?" "Oh, no, Abba, that's just fine." Well, it wasn't. I mean, in my culture, it was up to my father to determine whom I should marry and when. And it was up to me as his daughter to agree and be happy with his choice. But there was this man. Every time I looked at him, my heart would go ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And every time he looked at me, he would turn bright red. Now, he wasn't supposed to talk to me. I wasn't supposed to talk to him. He wasn't even supposed to look at me, and I wasn't supposed to look at him. That's how we did things. But every once in a while, we would catch a glimpse of each other's eyes, and then we would look away. He was a carpenter. He was a little older than I was. He had a good trade. And I wanted to marry him. What if my father picked somebody who was twice my age and ugly? What if he stank? And I would always remember my carpenter I wanted to marry. I looked at my father and I said, "Papa, anyone you choose for me will be the right person for me to marry. Thank you for thinking of me." And he left. Well, there was a crack in the door. The man would be coming by tonight, and if I peeked through a crack in the door, I could see him because he'd be coming to discuss things with my father. I tried to help my mother with the sewing that day, but you're not supposed to sew your fingers to the clothes. So I tried to help her with the cooking, but you're not supposed to eat burnt food either. So she kicked me out, and I walked up and down, up and down, up and down outside until it started to come dark. And I walked in the house, and we lit the candles, and I waited. And finally, there was a knock, knock, knock at the door. I peeked. My father went to open the door, and I heard man's voices. But I couldn't see anything except my father's back. He had put himself so that he was covering the crack with his own back, and I couldn't see anything. Eventually, I know he knew what he was doing, but eventually they moved a little, and I could see a foot, and then I could see a leg, and then I could see up his body, and it was him. I could see his face, and I started to shout, Ima means mother, Ima, come quick, and she came. And I looked at her and I said, "It's him." And she looked at me, she said, "Yes, Miriam, I know, it's him." I said, "No, Ima, it's him. And she looked at me and she said, "Yes, Miriam, I know, it's him. I looked at her and I said, "Ima, it's Yosef." And she looked at me and she just smiled. And I looked at her and I said, "How did you know?" And she put my chin in her hands and she looked at me and she said, "Miriam, some things can't be hidden."